Kathryn Hahn and her fans are all set to welcome Agatha, Coven of Chaos, into the MCU. But did you know the character was just a temporary entry to Marvel before her success among the fans? She's never had a solo comic of her own. Considering that, her return to a solo show is a big deal. So let's talk about Marvel's plans with her and the characters she could introduce into her show. Starting with MCU's original idea for Agatha. Well, there was none. The execs at Marvel only introduced her for the show, which was also a miniseries, so there was no possibility of her returning once it ended. But Agatha's magic was so strong she took over fans with a twist of her fingers, and here we are, with her own show in the making and a world of possibilities opening up with Coven of Chaos. Now the question is, what changed? Fan reaction, that's what. The moment Agatha All Along came out, she became a Twitter and Instagram sensation with memes floating to the ends of the earth. Thankfully, Marvel took it as a sign of fans loving a character and made a good decision. Not a lot of studios would be able to do that. DC, please take note. Plus, there's also Marvel's own expansion into the multiverse and Disney Plus, which has made this possible. Now that we have a number of popular comic book characters slowly taking shape in all the MCU, it makes sense that Agatha would be part of it as well. She's the all-powerful witch that can kill your cat and make your neighbors turn into bumbling at a magic show, after all. Moving on, what's Kathryn Hahn's reaction to all this? She's ecstatic. In an appearance at Jimmy Kimmel Live, she was super happy with the new turn of events. Or it could have been her post-Thanksgiving glow. No one can really tell. But anyway, she mentioned how none of them had anticipated how popular Agatha would be and how much love fans give her. As we have said earlier, the witch became a social media sensation and probably one of the best parts of WandaVision. But while the show was pretty good to begin with, so it's obviously great that it's being expanded to a spin-off. When asked what she knew about the show, she said everything. Now, she obviously can't really share what, but did say it was exactly what I would have hoped and dreamt. Okay, so knowing Hahn and her character, this means the show's full of chaotic events and a crazy witch trying to control everyone, yes? Well, we'd expect nothing less. Coming up, here are our theories about the show. Now that we're done talking about the character's almost impossible existence and sudden appearance in the MCU, let's talk about what we're expecting to happen in the show. The studio has been teasing the show as a black comedy with Agatha in the main role and our favorite angry millennial, Aubrey Plaza, as the villain. This means Harkness will probably be the hero in this show, or you could say the anti-hero. Why is that fitting? Because first off, in the comics, Agatha is actually more like a mentor to Wanda than an enemy. And secondly, considering her character has definitely got that main character energy to it, making her a slightly gray anti-hero just fits better, instead of her being a full white angelic protagonist or a totally dark villain. We'll also probably get a sneak peek into her previous life and how she managed to defeat Salem 7 to become the powerful being she was shown as, with the Darkhold in her ownership. There's also a chance that the show may be set in Agatha's past, instead of showing her as Agnes stuck in Westview after the Scarlet Witch left her there. But those are all questions. That'll be answered once the show comes out by the end of 2023. Also, where does the show lie in MCU's phases 5 and 6? This is a big question because in the comics, Agatha was never given a solo project. She was always more of a supporting character associated with one group or another. But with her own show coming out, this may change, unless it's a miniseries about her background, of course, but we'll come to that later. For now, as far as the MCU is concerned, to understand where the show fits in phases 5 and 6, let's check out their timelines first. So this show's set to release by the end of 2023, probably being the last MCU release of the year before we move ahead to 2024's lineup of shows, gradually leading up to Fantastic Four in 2025. And do you know, they were the group Agatha was initially introduced to in the comics? So does her return mean she'll somehow be connected to them? Because in the comics, she was shown to have a strong connection with Reed Richards and Sue Storm's son, Franklin. She was his nanny and was super protective of him. Maybe her introduction may just tie up with the future releases, finally leading up to Secret Wars, the newest Avengers event in the works. But then again, we're just assuming. The show can tell us better. Speaking of which, have you thought about what characters it may introduce to us as part of the MCU? Wait up. Also, will Scarlet Witch be in it? We're sure every fan is asking this question, and why not? Everyone loves Wanda, as broken and creepy as she may have become. Plus, Agnes and Wanda are a duo we definitely want to watch again. So, will this show finally bring in the storyline of Agatha being the Scarlet Witch's mentor? maybe she'll return from her defeat with Doctor Strange and ask her old frenemy to become an ally and a teacher. Who knows? There's also a possibility of a Scarlet Witch movie being set up if she appears in this series. That one's been a long time coming, so maybe this show will finally lay a path for it ahead. Next up, we have Mephisto. Let's be honest, MCU has been going full witchy recently, and this show just proves that. And if that's the case, what's stopping them from bringing Mephisto into the universe? Fans are already hinting at Aubrey Plaza playing her. Plus, there have been a lot of clues about her entry to the MCU right from the beginning. Yep, the very beginning. In the very first Avengers film, there's a shot of the S.H.I.E.L.D. file on the Tesseract where Mephisto's name appears under the object, with some unclear content around it. Then there are all the 666 and Satan-related references in WandaVision, pointing to MCU's own version of the big bad Mephisto. There's also Bill and Tommy's Maximoff's existence, which couldn't have been real in Earth 838 considering they were just part of a hex in the original show. But they exist, pointing towards some plot involving the all-powerful villain that could exist in the universe. There's also some devil imagery in Loki, which points toward the character, meaning MCU may just be preparing us for a bigger fight to come in the future, which is very much like them. But then again, we could be spinning useless webs at this point, so who knows what'll happen. Here are some more characters we're expecting, starting with Billy and Tommy themselves. We already saw them gain their powers in the show, and in the comics, they grow up to become Wiccan and Speed, two witches with Scarlet Witch as their mom. Sure, they didn't exist in Earth 616 anymore, and maybe Agnes will travel to 838 for revenge and kidnap them at some point. There's also Firestar, or Angelica Angel Jones, who's a big part of Agatha's past in the comics. She's the one who convinces her to create a community of witches where they can be safe from the Puritans, leading the other witch to build Salem. If the show focuses on her past, this may be part of the plot. Then we have Nicholas Scratch, Agatha's ex-lover who frames her for unethical dealings, leading her to a trial. Then we have Hilda von Hate and Erida, the goddess of hatred whose powers Hilda channels to raise an army of zombies to help, but is defeated by Agatha's group, Uncanny. Hilda dies as a result, but Erida uses this chance to enter this universe, which could be a possibility for the upcoming show. We also have the Ghost Dancer, Emerald Warlock, Satana and Daemon Hellstrom, Celine Gallio, Calypso Izili, Brother Voodoo, Topaz Daytripper, Enchantress, Dr. Druid, and Witchbreaker. Whew, that's a lot of characters, and obviously not all of them will make the cut in the show, but it's fun to see how the creation of this show makes way for debuts from all these characters in the MCU. Lastly, fans are also expecting Quicksilver. Wait, how? Let's find out. So when the show's casting was revealed, one surprising name was Emma Caulfield Ford, who plays Dottie in Westview, the snobby community events leader. Now, fans have always had this suspicion that she's also secretly a witch, just like Wanda and Agnes. And if she's the only one returning to the show, and not the other regulars from Wanda's dystopian town, maybe the theory is true. If it is, and the show's going to be set in Westview, maybe we'll see Evan Peters return as Quicksilver. Even if it's only for a short while, Agatha figures out how to set free from the ghost town. Well, that's a wrap for this video, so what are your theories about the upcoming show and its impact on MCU's future plans? Let us know in the comments below. Also, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. We'll see you in the next one.